Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It is Saturday, November 14th, 2015. This is an introduction to a video about the reported terror attack in Paris yesterday, Friday, November 13th. I put out a video on this yesterday. I have more findings to share, and I want to share those with you, fellow truth seekers, very much, as well as you truth deniers, because I want to wake you up even more than I want to enlighten my fellow truth seekers. It is the truth deniers who need to be activated and awakened more than any other, and that's why I do this work. Before I get into this video, I want to tell you more about myself and why I do this, because my last video has received a lot of criticism and insults. Plenty of people said I was a coward who would never show my face on the camera. Of course, these people haven't checked out my videos because my first 200 videos are all of my face on the camera. That used to be the only way I knew how to make a video. Anyhow, when I was 18, September 11th happened. I was just barely 18 years old. I was in my second week of college. I thought life couldn't get any better. And then, boom, September 11th happened. And it was a real wake up call for me, and I'm sure many of you as well. After September 11th, I found a major problem with the world I was living in. When September 11th occurred, I knew a lot of things were wrong. The reporting seemed contrived, it seemed like it was agenda based, it seemed like it was a bunch of propaganda blaming a false boogeyman for an agenda against we, the people of the nation. And that agenda unfolded very quickly. In the days after September 11th, the Patriot Act was passed. And if you're not aware, the Patriot Act was a massive pile of legislation that had been rejected for the past 30 years by Congress. There was no reason to pass any of this legislation that was about spying on Americans and stealing liberties. But suddenly, with September 11th, there was a reason to pass all this legislation that is truly all unconstitutional. We're not supposed to live in a spy state. We're supposed to be a free people, not an oppressed people where the government rules over us with tyranny. That said, if you look at the nation's history, there's been a lot of ruling with tyranny. So it didn't just start with September 11th, but it got a whole lot worse after that day. And it wasn't just that, it's also that our nation has been at continual war, sending off the nation's youth ever since. And we're fighting with nations that have no responsibility for what happened on that day. So in the rest of this presentation, I'm going to show you how the same tactics that were used on September 11th were used yesterday in France. What I want people to realize is this world we live in, it really is under a one world order, and that one world order grows stronger and stronger each day. Some people refer to this as the New World Order. Just realize the New World Order isn't something that's coming, it's something that's been here for a long time. This order existed before the United States ever existed. This order is hundreds of years old. Some people refer to it as the Illuminati. In my research, I have found that it's the Masons and Zionists. And out of all the nations in this world, you could make an argument that France is the greatest Zionist stronghold outside of Israel and the United States. In France, you can't speak out against Zionism. If you do, you're jailed. It's a prison sentence for speaking out against the tyrants. And who would expect anything less from tyrants than to jail those who speak out against them? What's going on in France will be going on in the rest of the world if this madness is not put to an end. And the other thing I want to say is that a little more than 2 years ago, recall, the mainstream media told us there was a chemical weapons attack in Damascus. Do you remember this? It was, I think, fall or late summer of 2013. It happened on the night of a blue moon. John Kerry of the United States and President Obama began beating the war drum really hard. It almost felt like we were going to go to war with Syria in that moment, late 2013. The United States then backed off with the war drum, and immediately what transpired were news stories about this new terrorist outfit, ISIS. ISIS, which used to be a code name for Mossad, which is Israel's CIA. And ever since that day, we've heard more and more propaganda stories about ISIS. Now, yesterday, November 13th, 2015, we got the biggest story yet in regards to violence and propaganda in regards to ISIS. And what I'm going to show you in the following video is all the important coding within, including the coding for World War III, which is surely coming. And this is what people need to wake up to, because the only way to stop World War III is to have a mass awakening through the populace before it happens. And that time's running out. And just know that for 2 years I've been doing this work, sacrificing my free time. I even quit my job more than 2 years ago and started working for myself part-time so that I could pay the bills and have enough time to do this research. I've been making a lot of personal sacrifices in the last 2 years ever since that Damascus war drum beating fiasco, because I don't want to see my nation go to war. I don't want to see the world go to World War III over a lie and know that more 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds are dying over nothing. I could have been one of those people. When I was 17, I was in a military recruiter's office, and he told me it was the best time to join the military because there'd never be another war in my lifetime. And lo and behold, a year later, September 11th happened, and all the kids who heard the same rhetoric as me were off in Afghanistan, and then Iraq, and then some of them have been doing multiple tours for the last decade. So that's why I do this work, not because I'm a coward who wants subscribers or to hide my face behind a computer screen. I could care less about subscribers. I could care less. If I had 0 subscribers, it wouldn't matter to me. I do this work to get out the truth. I have broken a code that no one broke before me. And I'm sharing that code, and a lot of people are learning, and a lot of people are spreading the information. This is the kind of stuff that has to happen to change this world for the better. And it so desperately needs to happen because, like I said, we've been under this tyrannical order for hundreds of years, and it's long overdue to be broken. So that said, here comes the rest of the video. For those of you who disagree with me, please watch my tutorial videos teaching how to gematria, and please also watch my recent composition video where I showed a number of hoaxes over the years by the same numbers and how they have been used for agenda. I talked about the Dunblane shootings in the UK and how that resulted in the taking away of handguns from UK citizens, all done by the numbers. The same thing is going on in the United States and other parts of the world right now. So I have a lot of information to share. I have a lot of research to back up my points. I've been working hard every day for 2 years straight. I don't do this for attention. I do this to spread truth. So that said, here comes the rest of the video. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so before we get into what happened yesterday in Paris, France, let's begin with September 11th, 2001 in New York City when the World Trade Centers came falling to the ground. Those attacks were blamed on Al-Qaeda. Notice on the screen that Al-Qaeda sums to 102 in Jewish gematria and 41 in simple English. 102 stands out right away because the attacks lasted 102 minutes. United States of America has a gematria of 102. USA has a gematria of 41. And notice that Al-Qaeda equals 41 in simple English gematria, identical to USA. 41 is the 13th prime number. The nation began with 13 colonies. The 13th colony was Rhode Island, having a gematria of 311 in Jewish. This is a very special number to this nation and the Masons. Yesterday's attack in Paris came 311 days after the Charlie Hebdo attacks and had the number 113 coded all over it, the reflection of 311. These are very important numbers to the Masons. Take you back to Al-Qaeda here for a second. I want to show you what else stands out about this number 41. On September 11th, 2001, the date had a numerology of 41. This number specific to USA, also specific to Al-Qaeda, who's blamed for the attack. And anyone who's studied Al-Qaeda knows that they were created by the US government to fight Russia in Afghanistan. Even our own government acknowledges that. They say the plan backfired. That's the way they tell the story to the mainstream. The other thing I want to make about USA is USA breaks down to 311. Use the 21st letter, 2 plus 1 becomes 3. S is the 19th letter, 1 plus 9 becomes 10, 1 plus 0 becomes 1. A is the first. So again, the 13th colony equaled 311, projecting what was to come. USA, the 50 states. The gematria of America is 50. My point in showing you this is that these numbers are very important to the people in high places who govern over us, who have governed over us for hundreds of years. This language of gematria is esoteric knowledge that is secret to a group of Zionists and Masons, the same tyrants who are truly responsible for September 11th and also responsible for what happened yesterday. The final body count right now is 129. Some networks are reporting 127, 128, but I'm seeing most networks have settled in at 129. Notice this is also the Jewish gematria of America. So we've established the gematria relevance, how it's shown up in history. If you want to know more about this, I have an introductory video teaching you how to gematria and where it's been used throughout history. I also have a recent compilation video showing how hoaxes by the numbers have been used to forge real agenda that has real impacts on people, such as what I talked about in the introductory with my face on the screen. Also notice that this documentary came out on September 6th, 9/6. The word Freemason equals 96. The ranging degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry are 31, 32, 33, summing to 96. Should also be noted that 102 minutes is the same as an hour and 42 minutes. The word terrorist equals 142. There's a reason the attack lasted 102 minutes. All sorts of relevant coding. This is what understanding gematria is all about. By understanding this language, you can see how the powers that be operate by the numbers truly. Again, yesterday, the day of the attack, was also Friday the 13th, and the superstition around Friday the 13th comes out of France from the year 1307, when the Knights Templar were arrested by King Philip IV, who had them burned at the stake. The Knights Templar are the original Masons, or as some people say, a branch of Masonry throughout history. The point is, they are related to the Freemasons. The Freemasons have been in power and of great influence for more than 1,000 years in this world.